The stage is set, the bright lights are on. Welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk episode 71, and I am joined, as always, 71-0, has not missed an episode, Mr. Robert Palin.
That's a good record.
It's alright, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, and here's me now going to miss a couple of episodes now.
Yeah.
Coming down the line, but sure, we'll work on that.
Yeah.
We're brought to you as always by Fight Star Ireland, the fighter's choice, everything you need under one roof, and MMAmix.com. They're obviously good, because they're with, obviously, Fight Talk. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button just below there. Check out all our past videos and the stuff that we always stick up. You'll catch all our episodes and the short videos, interviews we do at shows. Check us out on Facebook at, obviously, Fight Talk. On Twitter, we're at talk_fight. And other social media, we're obviously Fight Talk everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Like and share. Comment. Rob will answer back because he's cool. Word of mouth will help us grow. So basically, get sharing and get us bigger. Rob, we've a good show this week, my man.
Excellent show.
We're guest heavy.
Guest heavy.
We're going to be joined, making a second appearance on, obviously, Fight Talk at a third attempt. We're going to be joined by the voice of Bellator,
Fingers
Mr.
crossed.
Jimmy Smith. All things going to plan. The great, the masterful Brendan Dorman will be joining us as well, where we're going to be looking ahead at pound for pound, that famous list that everybody wants to talk about. So Brendan has compiled the list. Me and Rob are in the dark. We don't know his list, so he's coming on with the list. We'll then be speaking, we'll be dragging it back to Irish combat sports, and we'll be speaking to Damian Darker, who fights at Cage Legacy Kickboxing next weekend in Drogheda. And then a nice one Rob set up, a nice little get. This man has just been given a national holiday in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yancy Medeiros will be joining us. Yeah, I want one. Yeah, just go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yancy Medeiros will be joining us. Obviously, we'll be speaking about the big win over Erick Silva, but I'm sure we'll touch on a lot more bases as well. So let's start where we normally start, with your quickfire news. So get your 2 minutes on the clock. This is where we basically give a subject, and we read the subject. We have 2 minutes to discuss. Once the 2 minutes is up, it's over.
It's done.
Unless we decide to keep going. So your first piece is Michael Venom Page is not happy, and it's confirmed that Paula Tampax Daly, MVB's Awards, has turned down a main event London bout with him on Bellator's return to the English capital. After the clash between the fighters after Daly's defeat to Rory McDonald at Bellator 179, the bout looked all but confirmed. MVP has now labelled Daly a straight disappointment. What do you think of that news? It was a bit of a weird one. He sent a video to Ariel Hawani basically saying all this.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Like, you just want the fight to be made at this point, don't you? Like, it is a great fight. MVP has been moved along pretty slowly. And then when he's had a decent fight, or when he's had a fight lined up, like the fight that he had at London could have been a decent fight. And
Anderson.
Yeah. But, it didn't happen. And, there's all this back and forth with Daly and Venom. And it just looks like, for whatever reason, it's just not happening. Hopefully it does happen, and hopefully if it does happen, it does do it in London, because it's a very good main event for London.
There was big call-outs for this, and then when Daly got out and they had the little scap. Now, I don't think punches or anything were thrown, but there was a coming together. There was a lot of mountain. And it's been, like, you think about it, when we interviewed Venom Page, this is what was spoke about. When we interviewed Paul Daly, this is what was spoke about.
It's what people are interested in.
And
it seems like it's what they're interested in as well.
It's a big fight in European MMA and world MMA. But, Venom Page, Paul Daly is known throughout the world. Venom Page is known as this prospect who's coming up through the ranks. So I think in a way Daly feels, if I lose to this guy, I don't know if I don't think any fighter thinks if I lose, but I think he thinks he should be getting bigger names. But coming off a defeat, and a dominant defeat to the hands of Rory McDonald, you got to ask, is there a bigger fight for Daly to be like the headliner of a Bellator?
The interesting thing about it, I think, is that although it's, in terms of names, not even names, in terms of talent, maybe Daly has fought better guys, but in terms of names, he's a pretty big name right now. And, when it comes to casual fans, if Daly loses, the casual fans, I don't think it's going to hurt him that much, really, because it'll hurt him maybe to the hardcore fans, because people will say maybe MVP hasn't fought that many good guys, but casual fans just see MVP, the way he fights, the way he knocks people out, and they'll say, oh, he's an amazing fighter. Quickly
on the buzzer, I read an article, don't know how true it is, that Daly's focused and he wants to get the Bellator K1 or kickboxing belt.
That'd be interesting.
Yep.
Up next, Dana White replied to Demetrius Johnson's statement in an interview claiming the UFC used bullying tactics against him, saying, "How do you bully the pound for pound best fighter in the world?" He continued, "Listen to the media. The media claims he's the pound for pound best fighter in the world. I think Conor McGregor is the pound for pound best fighter in the world." if you look at what it really means, what pound for pound means, and Conor doesn't give a shit, he'll fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. If Demetrius is the pound for pound best fighter in the world, then fight TJ Dillashaw. Fight somebody that people actually care about and be interested in. There you go. Do you agree with White, or do you just think he's pushing DJ to fight TJ?
I gave you a mouthful of a news article
did,
to read. Yeah, I think this is just Dana White pushing the buttons, trying to get Demetrius to take the Dillashaw fight.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's good. You know, we spoke. Obviously, you had your bit of it. You really throw your toys out of pram last week about Demetrius Johnson. I agreed with you. In fairness, a lot of people don't though. I noticed that in the Twitter feedback, and you know, back and forth with a couple of our listeners. I did respond to listeners. That people are saying he's, you know, DJ's overreacting and stuff. But is Conor the pound for pound best fighter? No, not like he is the guy who has, you know, he's moved up the weight classes, he's fought guys, he hasn't defended his belts, which I'd love to see, and the majority of MMA fans, that'd be their number one critique of Conor, is that he hasn't defended his belts. He's obviously off to the Mayweather stuff and all that malark, so it's a bit of a hard one. It's maybe Dana trying to, you know, go, hey Conor, we love you still, and but I also think it's the big thing. He's trying to make the TJ fight, so he's just pushing Demetrius to that.
Again, I think it's a bit of a misstep by the UFC, because if you look a couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, I'm not sure, Dana White was talking about Demetrius being the pound for pound best. Yeah, he said it at a couple of conferences.
But look, and Dana White says don't believe.
Exactly, and that's why I think they're shooting themselves in the foot, because Dana comes out and he says all these things, and then he basically, he goes off on what he said the first time, and now, you know, people were saying he's not promoting Demetrius the right way, and now he's coming out saying, oh, he's not the best pound for pound fighter in the world. At least come out and say he's one of the best, if not the best pound for pound fighter in the world. That might help Demetrius maybe get away from some of the criticisms he has.
But you see, I think with Dana White, it depends who he's promoting this week or that month. So
it seems like a bad strategy.
You know, DJ was the best pound for pound when he was trying to get DJ, you know, on the card and get people interested in the card he's fighting on. Conor's the best pound for pound MMA fighter on the planet because he's trying to sign him in the biggest boxing fight and cross fight ever. So, there's that to come into. The feud between Travis Browne and Derek Lewis is being revisited as Browne has kicked Lewis when he is down. After his defeat to Mark Hunt last weekend, Browne stated via his Instagram, "You say you have the most heart in the division, but I just watched you quit. You should retire. You brought up fake news about me that affected my family. What happened to your mom? No woman should ever have to go through. Miss Lewis, you have my sympathy. I hope your family isn't affected by false accusations or false news like mine was. Even though you didn't have the same consideration for my family. I wish the best to you, your wife and your children. Enjoy your wedding on the islands. My home is heaven on earth. Best wishes. You know you don't have the heart, but if you have the balls, I'm down to run it back." What are your thoughts on Browne calling out Lewis and Lewis' apparent retirement?
The retirement came out of left field, didn't it?
Bad back, though,
it was a weird. Yeah, it does have a bad back, and
I can relate.
There's probably nothing worse than having.
There's
a bad
not too
back.
many things I can relate to UFC fighters, but I can relate to a bad back.
Yeah, and
that stopped my career.
If that's it, and fun, like if you go back and Luke Thomas actually brought this up in one of his most recent videos, and it was something that I remember as well, because I thought the kind of trajectory that Lewis has gone on the past couple of fights is a bit mad, because when he got to the UFC, he said, "I'm not here for the long run. I'm coming in. I want to make some money and I want to get out." Yeah. So when he was talking about, "Oh, I want to win the title and all this," I was kind of like, that's kind of different than what he was saying. Maybe he's had a change of heart. Maybe, you know, since he's had this success,
getting married in Hawaii ain't cheap.
It ain't cheap, yeah. So I just thought it was a bit different. But now it makes sense that he said he wants to retire. He said that he doesn't want this to be, you know, his long-term career part. On the Travis Browne thing, I don't know.
Fairness,
it is what it is.
Travis is, in a way, is right. Travis has been on a bit of a losing streak, and
he's coming out and he's talking about a name.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's a good call out from him. There is a little bit of feud there, so in that sense, the fight makes sense. Yeah. But I'm interested to see how the talk with Lewis and retirement will go. Maybe it's just the aftermath of a defeat.
That wasn't 2 minutes, but it's enough.
Yeah, it is.
What we're going to do on this last piece of quickfire news, we're going to do a lemur. If you haven't used lemur, I don't know if you can see this.
It's a phone.
It's an app on iPhone at the moment.
That's Rob's work
soon.
phone.
And yeah, it's cool. Check it out.
Social media Lemur, check it out.
Lemur.
It's where you can record all your talkings and your raving, and people will follow you and speak to you. So this is obviously Fight Talk, and we are now on Lemur. So
Vitor Belfort is up for a rematch with Nate Marquardt after Marquardt called for a rematch on neutral ground as he felt he clearly won 2 rounds with a bout at UFC 212 in Brazil. Belfort said via his Instagram, "I respect Marquardt a lot, but finding excuses for a loss is not right." Belfort posted on his Instagram, he said that twice, I won the fight for sure, and fighting in Brazil doesn't make a difference for the organisation and judges. As far as I'm concerned, the UFC is an international organisation and has its events and staff all over the world. But if you want to do it again, I'm down for it. Let's fight on a neutral ground, so you can't complain about hometown advantage. I'll make sure that you fight, and I'll not go to the last round. Let's do it. You keep giving me mouthfuls with these things.
Well, look, the news is important, and, you know... Happy days. You were outraged by this when you felt Nate won this fight.
I think outraged is...
You were outraged.
You
slammed your hand on the table.
I hated it. No.
Yeah. No, but you like, so in a sense, this is almost pointed at you. But at the same time, is this a smart move by 2 old fighters? Let's fight one another, get paid, and then let's fight one another again, so we don't have to get 2 young, hungry lions that are going to
I get you. Yeah. I thought it was like sarcastic, or it was like, is this smart?
No.
Yeah, maybe. They could have had a chat after the fight and said, let's just do it again. Come on.
Yeah.
We didn't get hurt, where it was fine. I wasn't outraged by the decision, but I do think it should have went to Marquardt. I thought it was a clear enough decision. But it was close enough.
When you look at the amount of fighters, when it goes to the judges' scorecard in Brazil and you're fighting a Brazilian, don't be shocked if you hear a Brazilian name and not your name called out. You only have to look back through cards for a long time. I literally went through a stage, I don't encourage betting, but hey, I went through a stage where I was betting on cards and I was just backing the Brazilians because it was in Brazil.
Yeah.
So, you know, unless you knock them out or you choke them out or you tap them out, if it goes to the judges, you know, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So you could
say that about most countries as well, though. Like if in Ireland there was an Irish fighter fighting,
clearly as well.
Russian, you can see that.
Are you saying like there's certain decisions like hometowns? Like let's say if it was in Boston and let's say give me a fighter off the top of my head, like Carl Pendred was fighting or something that they'd scored it incorrectly.
Yes.
Perfect. So yeah, that's going to be on Lemur as well. So if you're listening to the show here, check it out on Lemur as well, and you'll check all our little ramblings. We do little office ramblings all the time, so check them out. Your last bit of news is Floyd Mayweather, Rob. This news story that won't go away. This Floyd Mayweather has booked the MGM Grand for August the 26th. Is Conor McGregor's super fight finally on? Who cares? We've talked about it that much. We've covered it. That was the news today.
If it's announced, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about it anymore. So let's move it on, Rob. And that was your quick fire news brought to you by Fight Store Ireland. The fighter's choice. Everything you need under one roof. Go and check them out. The best of gear you need. And tell Steph and Claire Noel sent you. And Rob. Carl. Yeah.
We love you, Carl.
So yeah, we're going to hit up the Skype machine and we'll be right back. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and I am delighted to say we are now joined by the voice of Bellator, a man who will be in the octagon, well the cage, and sharing it with all the fighters on the night in New York. So Jimmy Smith, welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, second appearance, and we're looking forward to New York.
Yeah, I am, man. It's going to be a huge show. All the fans are looking forward to it. It's going to be a big day for us.
Does it feel different at all, this one, considering it's pay-per-view in New York?
It feels really different from every kind of angle. I mean, from the inside, production-wise, it's 6 hours total, I think. You know, we have prelims, and we have a free show on Spike, and then we have the pay-per-view. And so just physically, the amount of stuff we have to do is incredible. And so it's a big show for us, not even just in terms of the fights that are going on, but the size and the length of the show. Everything's different. Everything's changing.
A lot of people are talking about the format, the way they have, the way Bellator are doing the prelim card and then doing like a free show. It's like Bellator 180 and then they're doing the pay-per-view. What's the reason behind that? Is that just because Spike need a show as well? Or what's the reason behind not just doing a prelim card and a pay-per-view like the normal traditional way?
Yeah, well, I think it was an idea of the more people we get interested in the card itself, the more people will stick around for the pay-per-view. That if you get people interested, if you show them it's a good show, and then it's okay, go from here to the pay-per-view, they'll want to continue watching. If we give them something good to begin with, they're going to want to stick around and watch the pay-per-view. So they're putting a lot in before the pay-per-view to try to get people, hey, to tune in, check it out, get interested, and maybe you'll stick around for the pay-per-view. That's the logic behind that.
Looking at the main event is the bad guy himself, Mr. Chael P. Sonnen. Vanderlei was missing during the week for the press conference, and as Chael said with his shoe on the table, he wasn't really needed.
Yeah. Chael has a habit of making fighters who are already emotional more emotional.
Yeah.
We saw against Tito, it was a guy. That's the thing that gets me about Chael is that he's talking about guys that don't need a whole lot of motivation to get in the gym. Mm-hmm. These are guys that already are passionate. They're already upset. They already take fights really, really personally. And Chael gets in their face and makes it worse, as far as that goes. Which that's his style. That's what he does. So it's always interesting because these are guys you don't need to push their buttons to get them motivated, and he pushes their buttons anyway. So we'll see how it goes. Because strategy-wise, it's one of those things you think about. It's not like you're taking Fedor and you're pushing his buttons and making a guy who's normally ice-cold emotional. I can understand that. He does that to people who are already emotional. It's not like it's a tactical thing where I'm going to get him out of his game. That is Vanderlei's game, is to take fights personally and get angry about them. So we'll see how it works.
How does Sonnen do it? How does he, he lost his last fight, but it doesn't really seem like it's affected him at all. Not even a little bit. How does he do it?
I don't know. I really don't. I've worked with the guy, obviously. He's joined us in the booth a few times. He's a consistent presence in Bellator. He just has an ability to turn that on. I mean, he's not like that all the time. And that was, something I was honestly worried about going in the booth with a guy like that. 'Cause it's hard to fit that personality in the booth. Well, in the booth, he's not that guy. But when it comes to fight time, when he's talking about his opponent, when he's at a press conferences, when he's weighing, wherever he is, he's suddenly Chael P. Sonnen, the American gangster, and he's able to turn that on and go 100% in that direction. And it's a talent. It's his thing, man.
With obviously the first fight against Tito, a lot of people were disappointed. There was claims of fix. There was numerous things said about the fight. What do you expect different from Chael coming into this one? Do you almost think that fighting Vanderlei, he's got to show? We almost got a little look at this fight when they were both coaches in the Ultimate Fighter. Vanderlei swung wild and Chael went for the takedown. But what do you expect to see differently from Chael here, from the Tito fight?
We better see something different. I mean, I'm right there with you. I was, it was a disappointing fight. He didn't seem sharp. He didn't seem. Ring rust is real, man. Anyone who says it's not doesn't spend enough time watching the sport, because he had that sense of you can't figure out what you're doing. You can't remember what you're doing and do it at the same time. You can't. You have to be completely prepared where it's automatic. And nothing in that fight for Chael was automatic. He was thinking about everything he was doing. He made some decisions that I don't think he would have made a couple years before when he was fighting regularly, things like that. So he has to do something different. And, of course, he's taking on a guy that he can take down. That wrestling has always been one of his Achilles heels, that is going to stand and bang and throw wild punches, a lot of opportunities for the takedown. So he's fighting a very different guy in this fight. And I think that's huge, is that Chael can kind of get comfortable with his wrestling, get comfortable with his takedown, get comfortable with his top control against a guy who has been vulnerable to that kind of pressure before. He's not facing a guy, Tito Ortiz, a really big light heavyweight who had been wrestling for years, and, jiu-jitsu and top game and pressure is his game. Vanderlei's, that's not his game. His game is to come out and try and knock your head off. So he has a very different opponent in front of him, which will allow him to get much more comfortable much faster.
One thing you said, ring rust is real. Vanderlei hasn't been in a cage since 2013. Realistically, a 40-year-old Vanderlei, what are we expecting to see coming out of Vanderlei? Have you watched him do any work backstage? Have you seen any of his training camp or anything like that? What do we think here? 4 years. His last one was an absolute war with Brian Stan. Jesus, that was that fun.
I mean, that's the question for everybody. Is Vanderlei going to look like Vanderlei? Is he going to be physically prepared? Is he going to be mentally prepared? I haven't seen any of his backstage stuff. He's been in Brazil this entire time, as far as I'm aware. I haven't seen any open workouts. I haven't seen the kind of stuff I would usually see. We'd get some setup stuff. I'd be able to have clips of the guy working out. He's been, as far as I know, in Brazil this entire time. So I haven't seen anything. And Vanderlei's style isn't, gee, I'll feel it out and see what I'm doing. That's never been him. He doesn't fight well if he's not sharp. He doesn't fight well if he's not aggressive. He doesn't fight well if he doesn't come out with confidence. So that is a huge, huge, huge factor in this fight, is how is Vanderlei's timing going to be with the time he's had off?
That is certainly intriguing. The one that we didn't get, we just missed out on, is the co-main event. I never thought I'd say the co-main event and then say Fedor Emelianenko after it. Like, taking on Matt Mitrione. They were obviously scheduled to fight before. Unfortunately, Matt had to pull out. But what do we see here? Is that more an advantage for Mitrione or more advantage for Fedor, or does that even come into play, the fact that it was delayed?
I don't think it comes in that much. I think any delay at Fedor's age is bad. I don't, it's when you're a young man and you're fighting all the time and you're regular in the gym and you're kind of more closer to your physical prime, that's where you want to fight, is in that sweet spot. Fedor, obviously an older fighter, anytime he has to go into camp and doesn't get a fight, that's gas out of the tank, that's wearing the gears off, and you don't get the fight you expected. That's never good. So I would say the time off, I don't think it's an advantage for either guy, but it hurts Fedor more that he had to go through a 6 or 8 week camp and wasn't able to fight. Psychologically, tactically, I don't see much to it. Fedor's not a kind of guy who's going to get psyched out or think about the last fight. And Matt Mitrione, it was just one of those things. He was complaining about kidney stones that week. I know that. He thought they were done. He thought they were clear. He thought, oh yeah, I had this problem, but I'm okay. And it came back with a vengeance. So it wasn't like a training injury he has to take easy on. It's one of those injuries or conditions that I don't think is going to have a huge impact on the fight.
This fight, for me, this is an intriguing fight, because you could argue that Fedor's the older guy, but Fedor's 40, Matt Mitrione is 38. But in MMA years, they're light years apart. But we all know the acceleration and the speed that Matt Mitrione moves at. But one thing that, it was weird, me watching the build-up to the fight that never happened, I don't know why, and I don't need fighters to talk trash talk, but I almost thought Mitrione was real, I wouldn't say fanboyish, but he was too almost, oh my God, you're Fedor. Yeah. Is he going to be the bunny in the headlights when the bell rings?
He can't be. And one of the questions that Jen Brown, who works with us on the broadcast, asked Matt Mitrione was, from me, I said, we're sitting now, what do I ask Fedor, or what do I ask Matt Mitrione? And I said, when does the legend become just another fighter? When does the legend become just another guy you need to fight? And that's a huge thing, because we just talked about Vanderlei. Fedor's a quick starter. And he throws big, huge punches from the beginning. If you're sitting there going, man, I'm there with Fedor, boom. And you're looking at a ref waving his arms. I mean, he starts very, very quickly. He doesn't know how to throw a jab. Everything's an overhand right or a left hook. He just starts quickly and he hits really hard. So Matt Mitrione, who, by the way, in his Bellator career so far has been really easy to hit. We saw the Carl Monatafa fight. That was supposed to be his debut, kind of his coming out party. He got dropped in the first 30 seconds and then had to come back and win that fight. And then against Ollie Thompson, a big British brawler, he walked into a lot of punches. He hasn't been difficult. His movement's good, but he has a tendency to kind of drop his hands and mug a little bit and, rely on that athleticism to work for him defensively. And against Fedor, who wings big punches and throws really, really hard, that might be his downfall. We'll have to see. But he cannot take time off to soak in the fact that he's fighting Fedor. He needs to get out there and fight quickly, sorry about that, against a guy who is a guy he looks up to. It can't be that. It's just got to be another opponent.
Do you think that this was a little bit of a missed opportunity not to put the title on the line? The title's been vacant since, 2016, I think? Is it a missed opportunity for Bellator not put the heavyweight title? It seems like a perfect matchup.
Yeah, a lot of people have wondered that. It's one of those things where it's been vacant so long, I don't think many fans would object to, hey, this is for the title. Mitrione Fedor, it's for the title. I know Scott has a how can I put it, a flair for the dramatic when it comes to stuff like that. He might want a 4-man tournament. He might want like a tournament over a few months to decide who fights for the belt, have a little build-up for that title. I think that's the other side of the coin, is that, hey, that lets us do maybe a great one-night heavyweight tournament, maybe a 2-event heavyweight tournament, something like that. So the only thing I can think of, and I don't know, is that he'd want to build up and make it a little bit more tournament center to get a heavyweight champion. He loves that kind of stuff.
This is crazy. We're going down the card here, and it's great fight after great fight. But before we actually, let's wind it back to what we're going to call just the 180 card. Your headline for that, if you like, is Phil Davis versus Ryan Bader. They've run this before, but they're going to rerun it again. What do we see that's going to play out differently for this one?
How sharp Phil's looked in Bellator. I think that's a big factor, is that Bellator's really his home. He really enjoys fighting here. There's a certain edge to me to Bellator fighters defending their turf from, quote, UFC talent. Now, I know Phil Davis was UFC talent a couple years ago, big free agent signing for us, but he's really made his home here. He's had a few fights here. He's the champ, and there's a little bit of that. Hey, you're not going to come in here and just blow me out of the water because you come from the UFC. I'm not scared of you. I'm not intimidated. I'm going to show you I'm not intimidated. Now, Phil Davis, they've already fought before. What you have to ask yourself is what's changed since then? And I think the biggest factor so far is Phil Davis's comfort level in Bellator. He's looked fantastic. The only time he's really been tested was against King Mo, who's obviously a great fighter in his own right. But he's comfortable here. And Ryan Bader coming in, there's always that first fight jitters, fighting for a new promotion. I don't care what it is, fighting in Madison Square Garden. It's a big deal. It's about how Ryan handles the adjustment, because Phil Davis has handled it very, very well.
There's been talks of Bader, especially that fight, which it wasn't the most exciting fight, but there was talks of Bader, him saying that the way he fought in the UFC was different than the way he wants to fight, because he was fighting for the money rather than fighting for the enjoyment. He needed that win. Do you think anything will change here? He says that his contract is different. He's not just fighting to get that win bonus. Do you think that anything will change here? You will see a different style Ryan Bader bringing, maybe with striking or something?
We just might. I mean, one thing is also with a rematch, you want to show the guy something he hasn't seen before.
Yeah.
One thing about a rematch, anybody who breaks down a rematch says, hey, the winner fights the same fight twice. It's the loser that's got to go back to the drawing board, get new skills, figure out what went wrong, and change things around. Ryan Bader, I think that's a great attitude to have, is, hey, I'm not fighting like I did last time. He saw that guy before. I have to show him something new. I have to come in with a new angle, a different wrinkle. Regardless of whether it's contract-based and then, oh, now I really mean it, I'm not fighting for the win bonus, whatever. I don't know how his contract is structured. Yeah. But the idea needs to come in and do something new against a guy he's faced before. That is an attitude he has to have.
A big one here for the Irish eyes will be smiling is James Gallagher. He called for this. He wanted the big stage, and he is certainly on it. At the young age of 20, he is an absolute phenomenon in MMA, and it's starting to go world MMA now as well, thanks to Bellator and his victories he's had in Bellator. But he's got his hands full here in Machida. This will be a stern test for Gallagher.
The problem with Shinzo Machida, or any Machida, is you're doing great, everything's working out, you're kicking his ass, you're doing whatever you have to do, and then boom, you're hit with this crazy shot you didn't see coming. And Gallagher, and I'm trying to pronounce it the Irish way.
Yeah.
There's so many Irish
no, that was good.
Gallagher. It's not Gallagher. Americans Gallagher. There's Gallagher. So Gallagher, the problem he's going to have is his age. He hasn't seen a ton of looks. He doesn't have a ton of fights. He hasn't seen a lot of funky styles. I may have seen him in the gym, but we haven't seen him react professionally to that Machida style. Light on the lead leg, uppercuts with the lead hand. He stands really tall. It's hard to figure a guy like that out if you don't have a lot of cage time. You haven't seen that style before. So it's going to be a good test of his maturity as a fighter, because he's going to see things in there that you don't see that often, and he's got to figure out a way around it. Good test for him.
That's a very good point, because one thing James alluded to after his fight with Anthony Taylor was he was so unpredictable, because it was almost like Taylor didn't know what he was going to do next. So that was, and again, that could come into play certainly against Machida. But again, the big thing, we had AJ McKee on here with us a few weeks back now. That's the one that everyone's building towards in Bellator, and like it's AJ done his job last time round, and it was almost over to you now, James. So that's the thing, is everyone in Bellator, fingers crossed, going, let's go, we want this.
Everyone. You understand? We're all fight fans.
Exactly.
We're all fight fans in Bellator. Me, the other commentators, the ring guy. We're all fight fans. So we all, behind the scenes, go, man, I can't wait to see this fight. Man, what are they going to put? I mean, we're like bugging Scott Coker at dinner, like, come on, man, when are you going to put this fight together? All right, it's going to happen. Come on, man. We're like that. I mean, we're fans too. So AJ versus Gallagher, it's a no-brainer. It can't miss. It's exciting. There's already some heat between those guys. It's America versus USA, and they're both so young in their careers that it's not like a loss derails the loser and he's done or something like that. I mean, they're both young. They can easily bounce back from any loss, and they're right in the sweet spot of their careers. And their styles are very, very different. I've grappled with both guys. Their styles are very, very different. And so that's just got fun written all over it. It's a matter of Gallagher not overlooking a very dangerous Shinji Machida and thinking about AJ McKee.
Well, you haven't even touched on some of the fights, so I want to get your opinion as in what's the sleeper here? What's the fight that people are going to, not even the sleeper, one that's maybe flying under the radar because of Chael's talk, because Fedor's on the card. Who isn't jumping out of the card that you're surprised almost? Because we have 2 title fights that we haven't even mentioned while we're talking to you here.
I think the one people are talking about the least is Chandler Primus, because Chandler's looked so good in Bellator. He looked so dominant in his last couple fights. A lot of people are just writing off Brent Primus as the guy who just happens to be in the right place at the right time, so he's getting this title shot. I've talked to Chael Sonnen, who is working with Brent Primus for this fight. Brent Primus, when they faced off in Chicago, when they were on the top of that ramp and they were getting face-to-face, Primus is a giant. That is a big dude. He towered right over Michael Chandler. He is huge for this weight class, and this is the biggest opportunity of his career. And what Chandler keeps saying is, hey, this is where I was when I fought Eddie Alvarez. This is exactly where I was. So he has an opportunity to really make his own history. And Chandler, if he doesn't wipe the floor with everybody he fights, he's disappointed. He's that guy who goes back in the locker room, and if he knocks a guy out in 40 seconds, it should have been 30. If I crush him in the second round, God, it should have been the first round. Why? He's hard on himself, man. So you're facing a guy who has virtually nothing to lose and has a chance to make his name at 155 versus a guy who wants to devastate everybody he fights. So both guys are really, really motivated. That's going to be a fun fight. I don't see it lasting long, but that's going to be a fun fight.
You done like a breakdown on your blog about that. I read it yesterday. Yeah. Really, really good. I definitely recommend people going to read it. And something that you brought up was the expectation on Chandler to wipe this guy out. And you're going to have Primus coming in. You brought it back to the Ali thing with Liston. And you said that everyone's expecting him to go in there and wipe him out. And what happens if Chandler underestimates him a little bit? Do you think that might happen? Chandler, he's gone out there. He's finished a lot of guys. And now Primus coming in. A lot of people are underestimating him.
Yeah, I don't know if Chandler will underestimate him necessarily. He tends to take everyone seriously. He's a maniac at the gym. Chandler always takes issue with the fact that I say, man, he has trouble pacing himself. He comes out really hard in the first round, and then good in the second, okay in the third, and then he starts. He's had trouble pacing himself, and he goes, you know what? It's just that I set such a hard pace in the first round. Nobody can keep up with me, and I go, yeah, but that's pacing. I go, if you set a pace in the first round, you can't keep in rounds 2, 3, and 4. That's a pacing problem. So I don't see him underestimating Primus. I see him trying to wipe him out in the first 3 or 4 minutes. I mean, you see the energy he put out against Benson Henderson? Yeah. I mean, you know how much energy it takes to suplex a guy and hit him with 5 right hands in a row? And the problem is, if at the end of – and I wrote this in my blog, and I mean it 100%. The turning point in this fight will be, if it happens, if Primus goes back to his corner at the end of round 3 and has 1 round in the bank, different fight. Because he can go, man, we're in the championship rounds, 4 and 5. Chandler might be fading at this point. I got a chance to do it. That would be the turning point. If it's 4-0 going into the 5th round, Primus is going to have some problems. If it's 3-0 and he has to, get a 10-8 round or finish Michael Chandler, that's tough too. But if he can bank a round of the first 3 rounds and go in feeling good at the end of round 3, could be a different fight. So it's a matter of, will Chandler expend too much energy in round 1 trying to wipe this guy off the map? Not because he doesn't believe he can be there, just because that's his style.
I think for anyone, is one thing we have to get on to Scott Coker, you have to pass it on, is get the TV rights sorted for Ireland and the UK, because we get it on delay and we can't watch it. So it's the way we.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot from UK fans. Like, man, I want to watch it live. And it's so funny. People write me, and I go, I don't do the TV deals, man.
Get it done.
I'm sorry.
Get it done.
Wish everybody could see it live, man.
No, we're putting it on you, Jimmy. You have to get it resolved.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'll get right on that.
It's on you. This is for me. What stands out about this card for me is true. Sometimes when you look at a card, you'll go, yeah, he'll win. Yeah, he'll win. Yeah, he'll win. Yeah, and you can see it. This is a card of coin flips for me in a lot of them, and they're really, really well matched fights. And it's something that we've spoke a lot on this show about how Bellator are closing that gap that looked like it was such a big gap, but this card in itself is the flagship card for Bellator for me. And the ingenious, the best signing I think Bellator have ever made was Chael P. Sonnen. For just, he gets guys listening. He could sell he could sell you something out of date 10 years and you would still buy it. That's how he talks. And it's good to have him promote Bellator, because what Bellator are doing is phenomenal. So I can't wait for this card. Just something I want to touch on briefly, because obviously we have Douglas Lima taking on Larkin as well. Rory McDonald in London. How impressed were you watching Rory McDonald's destruction of Paul Daly?
I was blown away, man. Because the only word I kept using after that fight for everybody, he looked razor sharp. He looked confident. He looked crisp. He looked clean. He looked like he wasn't going to take a backward step in that fight. And I took some heat after that fight for in the interview saying he stood and fought you. And obviously Daly took issue with that comment. But if you look at that fight, McDonald stepped right to him, cracked him, and then took him down. Second night, stepped right to him, cracked him, took him down. It wasn't, I'm baiting the guy to takedown by backing up, I'm throwing some wild stuff just to set up the takedown. He stood in front of him and went, hey, let's go. And then hit him and then took him down. It was like, look, I'm not scared of you. I'm going to stand right toe-to-toe with you. That's how I'm going to set up my takedowns, by cracking you. That's what I meant by that comment is he didn't back up. He didn't fight scared. He didn't move away from you. And, man, anybody in this division, you got to be looking at Rory McDonald going, whoever wins in New York is going right back into the gym. Because they got Rory McDonald coming for him, and that guy looks like, and he's not an emotional guy. He isn't. I mean, he's got the American Psycho thing going on completely. The guy is just rock solid. But after that fight, the relief on his face, and that's why I asked him about the emotions he was feeling. Just like, oh man, just like, you know, switching promotions and the surgery and everything, that's all in the past. All this loss kind of puts that all behind me. This makes him more dangerous, man. Now that he's more relaxed and loose and like, oh man, now it's, whoo, this monkey's off my back. Now I get to get the title. So whoever wins in New York can't go celebrating out in Times Square. They better get back to the gym that night and start worrying about Rory McDonald.
But how exciting is that fight, Larkin and Lima? That is such a good fight, such well-matched fight.
Lima's one of those guys where if you never saw Bellator, if you were just a UFC guy and I meet you out on the street and you tell me, man, you know, I heard about this Bellator thing, you know, who's the guy to watch? Man, Lima's a monster. He is just an absolute beast. And when he hits guys, he sleeps them. He's one of the few guys that I look at a weigh-in, post, whatever, and I go, how on earth do you make 170 pounds? He's light heavyweight size. And he stands next to Phil Davis. They're roughly the same size, a little bit smaller than Phil Davis. He's huge. And when he hits guys, they go out. There's nothing you can do. So the Larkin Lima fight is about as exciting a fight as you could make with the talent we have, and I cannot wait to see it.
Before we get to a couple of fan questions, we're just going to have there's two big debuts: Heather Hardy and Aaron Pico. Two big debuts for Bellator. Hardy said that she's going to stay boxing as well as MMA. How difficult is that going to be, and how excited do you see Pico make his debut?
Staying in boxing, MMA, I think she can do it. Just because they complement each other a little better. To flip that over into a Pico question, I've had a lot of wrestlers tell me, Joe Warren and Ben Askren both said, I'm going to win an MMA and then I might, you know, I'll go back and win another Olympic. I'll win Olympic gold in 12. No, wrestling is not the kind of sport you can do part-time and expect to be successful. It's, you know, Joe Warren told me, he says, you know, I went back to the Olympic Training Center, wherever he was training, and he said, guys, I was thumping 2 years ago, suddenly we're like, oh man, these guys are good. The whole time I got to spend, you know, working on my boxing, my kickboxing, my jiu-jitsu, all they're doing is wrestling. That's it. That's all those guys are doing. So The Aaron Pico thing, we do these fight breakdowns. Obviously, you see them on social media and YouTube or whatever, where I break down a fight. And we're going to do Aaron Pico. So I'm sitting there, and they go, well, what do you have to say about the Pico fight? And I went, he's never fought before.
Yeah.
I go, I could talk about wrestling. I mean, but those names that, you know, Frank Molinaro and Jason Ness, that mean anything to you? No, you're not a wrestling fan. I could talk about other things, about stuff he's done, but MMA is like skydiving. There's no kind of skydiving. Either you have done it or you haven't. You either jumped out of a plane or you didn't. So it's very hard to break it down. He has all the skills. I've heard all the gym stories about him laying guys out. And we had a production call that I will share with you guys about the upcoming card. And the first thing I said is, hey guys, if we sell Aaron Pico that he's the next big thing and all stuff, and let's say he destroys a guy in Madison Square Garden, it's hard to then go back and go, well, he's fighting on an undercard in Michigan somewhere. Yeah. I go, it's once we put him up as this, the next big thing, it's hard for us to then go, wait, he needs a few more fights.
Yeah.
And they went, we don't care. Go all the way. He is LeBron James. He is Kevin Garnett. He's Kobe Bryant. He's the guy who's going from high school to the pros because he's that good. As far as you go, we're ready to back you up with our matchmaking. In terms of, I won't sell him as the next big thing, and then they'll turn around and book him a fight that's not meaningful.
Yeah.
They said, go all the way. He is that good. So the promotion itself, the promoters, the Scott Cokers, the Rich Chows, the guys who are making the matches, they believe he is the next big thing in MMA, 100%. So all their chips are in. They are doubling down on Aaron Pico. He is the guy. He's going to do it in Madison Square Garden. So they have 1,000% faith in this guy. And I've heard all the stories. I can't wait to see this guy fight. I've followed his wrestling career, throughout the Olympic trials and everything. And I can't wait to see the guy fight. Let's see what he's got.
No pressure, Aaron Pico.
Yeah, no pressure. No big deal.
Yeah, no pressure whatsoever. That's insane, because I did say to Robert before the start, who's this Pico guy? Because I was sitting there, and Rob's like, you haven't heard of Aaron Pico? So he was slaying me before we came on here. We're gonna throw Wonderful World of Reddit at you, Jimmy. Some of them are weird and wonderful, and some of them are sort of normal. So Jack Dalsol asks, will you be working with Brendan Schaub at the New York City event?
No. From what I understand, is the way they'll have it set up is Brendan Schaub and whomever else will have kind of an opening desk. Yeah. Welcome to Madison Square Garden. Let's discuss the fight. And then they'll throw down to us. So as far as I know, from what I understand, they'll be in kind of a stand-up position or a desk-seated position. Welcome to Madison Square Garden. Break down the fights a little bit. Do some fill, but the actual play-by-play will be normal. That will just be a two-man booth for that show. That Brendan Schaub will be throwing to us. Maybe we go back and forth about some stuff, but he'll be sitting in a different area, kind of, doing the desk thing, throwing to us.
And again, smart thinking. Brendan Schaub with the fighter and the kid is absolutely huge. So again, great work again. Smart work, We've got Dimison. Any chance of Jimmy taking part in a grappling match like EBI or Minimortis in the future?
The thing is, I grapple as much as I can when I'm at home. The level of commitment it takes these days to do an EBI, to do a Metamorphs, to do a professional grappling tournament, that's all they do. It's 6 days a week. That's their job. I'm on the road 26 weeks out of the year. I mean, so people ask me all the time, are you going to get back into MMA? No way. I'm not doing that again. But, even grappling, you don't understand, it's 5 days a week. It's taking the skin off chicken, and I am not that age anymore where it would be tough because I don't have the time to put in. I love grappling. I still do jiu-jitsu. I'm a black belt, all that stuff. It's just the time it takes to put into a professional grappling match. They're pros. I mean, that's all these guys do, and I don't have the time to commit to that level, aside from all the injuries I've had over my career. But it's the time. I just don't have the time to put in that other guys do.
From username Your Mom on Speed Dial, can we get Jimmy on Joe Rogan fight companion sometime?
I've already been on that. People ask me all the time. I've been on once on the Fight Companion, and then I was on his podcast just as a guest once. When I was on there, it was me, Joe, and Uncle Creepy, and we were doing a Fight Companion, and it went for 5.5 hours. It was the longest podcast he had ever done because we did the I forget which card it was. We sat there and we did it, and we're doing the fight, and then they turn it off, and we just sit there and we start talking, and that ended up going another 2.5 hours. I think it's the longest podcast he's ever done. It was me, Ian McCall, and Joe Rogan just sitting there talking about fighting 5.5 hours. So I've been on for a total of, I think, 8 hours or something crazy.
No,
like that.
no chemtrails or the Earth is flat conversation that day.
No, I used to teach math, and I went to college, so I don't get into those kind of conversations if I can possibly avoid it. It's so funny. I was doing one of the fight breakdowns that we always do, and the guy goes, the producer who's doing it, he goes, "Hey man, did you see that thing on Conor Gracie and Eddie Bravo talking about flat Earth?" And I went, "No, I didn't." What do you? I go, "Stop talking."
Yeah.
It's the dumbest thing on the planet. The idea that anybody would think that.
Yeah.
I want to have nothing to do with those discussions. Nothing at all.
And
so yeah, it was. I was very lucky. We were able to stay away from all that.
My favorite comment was on a flat Earth thing. Someone went, "Everybody around the globe knows that the Earth is flat," and somebody said, "Read back what you just wrote." Classic.
The only comment I will say about that is that, Socrates once said that the only sin is ignorance. That if you knew what you were doing, the consequences of what you're doing, you would never do it. That we just don't know what we're doing. That's why we do bad things. That's what Socrates said. And what's so disturbing about today's culture, society, whatever the hell you want to call it, is all the information's there.
Yeah.
We're willfully ignorant. We decide not to look at things. Now we don't know. We just decide not to. I mean, the idea that a philosophy or whatever the fuck you want to call it is gaining traction when we have photos of a round Earth from space is ridiculous. It's just, you turn away from what you don't want. You turn away from what you don't like, and it's ridiculous. So anyway, moving on.
Our last one is a request from Kilo. Says, "Please ask Jimmy Smith to unblock me on Twitter for calling him a fake Joe Rogan. I really love him."
What's the guy's name?
He's spelling it here as Kieloh. Kilo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm not.
He really loves you.
I have no interest in that. No, it's funny. People ask me that all the time because I'm constantly compared to Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
I don't mind the comparisons themselves. It's the easiest way, honestly, to explain what I do to people.
Yeah.
Like, because I'll go, I'm an MMA color commentator, and they don't know what MMA means, and they don't know what color commentator is. So I just go, "You know what Joe Rogan does for the UFC?" And they go, "Yeah." And I go, "Yeah, I do that for somebody else." It's honestly the easiest way to explain what I do. I don't mind the comparisons. I don't mind, like, "Oh, you do it." It's funny. Michael Bisping was in the cage with me one time. One of his fighters fought, and so we're in the cage in between commercial. I'm about to interview his guy, so we're just standing there because there's a commercial on. And I go, "Hey, Mike, how you doing?" He goes, "Hey, Jim, what's going on?" And he goes, and I go, "Hey, man, I don't know if we've met yet." And he goes, "Oh, I know who you are, man. You're Joe for Bellator." And I went, "Yeah, okay." Yeah, no, it's not an insult. It's the easiest way to describe what I do. Like, "Oh, yeah, you're Joe Rogan for Bellator." Yeah, how you doing, man? I was ending up talking or whatever, but I don't mind that. It's when people are insulting or people go, "Yeah, if you just come at me and go, 'You're a fake Joe Rogan,' fuck you."
Yeah,
I don't know.
block button's there for it.
It's the idea that the implication that I think Joe and I call fights very, very differently. The idea that I somehow
100%.
look in the mirror and try and we look similar. I will admit that, but it's the idea that I somehow look in the mirror and try and act like him or do what he does. And I think we call fights really, really differently. I think we have a really different perspective. His lineage is 10th Planet. Mine is Carlson Gracie. His lineage is like a lot of kicking martial arts, taekwondo stuff. I was a wrestler, so we just have very different backgrounds. We call fights very, very differently. And so the idea that I am attempting to do everything like him, I don't think we sound similar at all when it comes to how we break down fights. But yeah, the funny part is people be insulting to me on social media and then immediately back down and go, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was just..." Well, I didn't ask for your opinion in the first place. I'm getting paid either way. Everything's going great. But people reach out for no reason and they're insulting you. You're never going to get that back. I'm never going to go, "Okay, I don't need another follower." It doesn't add anything to my life to have whatever this guy's name is following me. I don't notice. I don't remember the blocking the guy. So that's the funny part, is it's a big deal to them. Well, don't be a dick, because if you said that to me on the street, there'd be a problem.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that's so funny is that people always say, "Oh, has anybody ever walked up to you and saying, insulted you? Do you ever get the insults that you get on Twitter in real life?" And I said, "Not once."
Yeah.
Not once in real life after a show on the street has anybody come up and said, "You're a fake Joe Rogan," because it wouldn't work out well. There would be a problem there. So that's the funny part to me is people on social media act in a way that they would never act in real life, and so the consequences are the same. I just don't want anything to do with it.
When we were talking to John Wayne Parr, he said there's an element like Facebook, people might be a little insulting, but because you can see their profile, you know who they are. Then it goes to Twitter, the next level, where they can sort of fake up anonymous accounts and stuff. And then it goes to like Instagram. They're pretty nice in Instagram. And then it goes to like Reddit, and like they will slay everybody. And it's because you're completely anonymous. And he said, so your different social medias have different levels of trolls. Keyboard warriors and trolls. Look, we're going to let you go, Jimmy. I cannot wait to watch Bellator New York, hear you call it. Look forward to you being back here in Ireland as well. I know there's rumours of coming back as well, and in the UK. But thanks a million for taking the time, and have a great show.
Anything we can do for you, man. Appreciate the time, buddy.
You're a gent. Thank you very much, sir. Take care. And they are the voice, not Joe Rogan of Bellator, but they do. He's right. They call fights completely different. Look, they're two guys that commentate on the same sport. There's only so many that do it at a high level. They're two built guys who grapple, so people are going to put the natural progressions together. Great. Jimmy gave us loads of time there, man. Loads. We only agreed so much, and wow, we're already pushing for time.
It's always great when you get a bit extra time.
Yeah, he's cool dude. But yeah, definitely check out Bellator New York City. It is going to be a cracker.
And Brendan Dorman's ready to go.
Do you know what's great though about it as well? I'll be in Mexico and I'll have to watch it live.
Oh yeah. Excellent.
Andale!
Get your phone and put up to a TV, and so I can watch it. Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, now we're going to hit up a master.
Yeah.
His latest breakdown was on Max Holloway.
That was awesome.
Amazing. So we're going to hit up Brendan Dorman right now, and he's coming back. We said we'd make it regular. It's getting pretty regular.
Let's do it.
Brendan Dorman. So welcome back to, obviously, Fight Talk. And if you're watching on YouTube, you will see, and you're about to hear, if you're listening on audio, we are joined by the masterful Brendan Dorman. Brendan, welcome back to, obviously, Fight Talk, my man.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. What's up?
You have always been getting bugged for your pound-for-pound lists and who's the number one guy, be it of all time and be it of now. So Rob set you the test. He said, "Let's lay these arguments to the ground and let you say make it official, and make the world of Reddit and everywhere go apeshit and disagree with you and call you loads of names." So here we go.
At it, right?
Will we go with present or all time first? Dealer's choice.
Up to you.
Present.
Okay, so present. And I had to look into this because I felt like it was really recent. So this whole Dana Mighty Mouse thing, I just want to, a real quick aside. 1 month ago, he was talking about him as greatest of all time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now he's dropped the spot because he said, "Pay me."
Yeah.
What? Okay. Yeah. Right. That's objective.
Makes sense.
The fuck. Anyway, so I have it this way, and feel free to step in. It was tough. I had an easier time with all time, believe it or not. So I have DJ at 1 by a fucking landslide. Joanna 2.
Okay.
Right? Makes sense. I think. Yeah. Because you have to. The whole pound for pound thing is. It has to include dominance at small. I mean, that's the whole point.
What's your definition?
Rhetorical.
What's your kind of definition or criteria for pound for pound? Because a lot of people have different criteria.
Okay, so mine is, it has to be competition dependent, right? There's a reason people think of like Ali and Joe Louis above Rocky Marciano, regardless. The Marciano beat Joe Louis, right? It's who did he face before then.
Yep.
So
that's fair.
I think your competition is important. I think your stats are important, right? How many times did you lose versus how much did you win? And of course, nothing, as I always say in MMA, there's no absolutes. So none of these things are contractually binding. There's some variance. In DJ's case being when he fought at 135, right? I'm talking about DJ at 125. It's not his fault there wasn't a correct weight division for him, right? Yeah. So I have him at 1, and so just to finish up on that, so dominance, record, who it was against, and then, you know, all the intangibles, I guess. Winning in dominant fashion, I guess, counts to some extent. Joanna at 2. I had Stipe at 3.
Ooh.
Because I feel like he's done the best that any heavyweight has in my lifetime in the UFC. Really.
Yeah, good argument.
He's already doing that. I mean, he's right there on the cusp, and he's winning in the first round a lot, and that goes to the dominance side, like the how, right? Like how are they champ, and what are they doing there? So I put him at 3. I knew it was a little bit of a risky pick, but Cormier 4.
Yeah.
1 loss,
Yeah,
right?
no disagreement.
And then I have at 5 I have Conor, and I was thinking Holloway, but Conor beat Holloway, so I think by default he gets 5. But I can't put him any higher than that, losing 2 fights ago.
Yeah.
You know, not me personally.
So sorry, number 1 was DJ, number 2 was Joanna, number 3 was Stipe, number 4.
Correct. 4 DC Daniel Cormier.
Yeah, and then Conor 5.
The big question, are you removing John Jones because of different circumstances, or are you removing him because you don't think he's in that list?
Interesting. I was going to, when we go to all time, I was going to explain that. Okay. Because there's 3 people in my all time list, I think 4 people in my all time list that are currently on the active roster.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay.
On my all time list, yeah.
Interesting.
And I'll explain why.
Okay. Well, will we argue the point, or will we hear the all time as well, and then just have a big mashup Royal Rumble?
We're gonna.
Let's hear the second.
Does anyone disagree with DJ at 1 though?
No. Absolutely not.
That's hard, right?
That's a no-brainer.
That's hard to argue against.
Yeah, you can't.
Unless, of course, you're promoting the other guy you've replaced as the pound for pound because he has a big fight coming up against somebody or something. But they're not putting words in Dan.
Yeah, I don't know what
not at all.
You mean by that.
Yeah, no idea. So all time.
Okay. I get shit for this a lot, but number 1, maybe I'm fanboying a little bit here. GSP I have at 1.
Okay.
Only lost twice, 1 a tad flukish, 1 revenge dominantly twice.
Good point.
His whole career, champ, fought the best at 170 and dominated everybody.
And a couple of generations.
Think of him versus Nick Diaz, like dangerous Nick Diaz. All 5 rounds, you know, went to George. He was incredible, and he beat 3 generations of fighters. So your Frank Triggs, your Matt Hughes, and your intermediary, kind of like Thiago Alves types. Koscheck when there was no USADA testing, all the way to Hendricks, right? And he hasn't fought Woodley, but Rory beat Woodley. I don't think Woodley would do any better against George. The George that we know anyway, because I don't know, right? So there's someone current roster, but not on my current list. But 1 all time. 2, I have John Jones. Again, same thing, right? I don't know, and I think that OSP fight was interesting.
Yeah.
Right? I also think with Jones, and the reason that I give George the nod over John is George fought everyone. Like Hall of Famers after Hall of Famers. And when he gets shit about not finishing people, and then you look at how Jones' wins have gone, there's a lot of decisions there too. So why is it in one predicament? Why? Because it's jiu-jitsu and top game, and instead of spinning elbows, are we that fanboyish? You know what I'm saying? Like, he did a spinning move. He gives us, that's
people
fucking
love
lame
shit.
to me. So 3. I have Mighty Mouse all time. 3. 4. I have Anderson Silva. 5. Almost by default, begrudgingly, I have Fedor at 5.
Oh, and you hate Fedor.
I don't hate Fedor. I just don't think he's won. You know?
Yeah.
That's a weird though. I think that's a weird one when you say this guy is not the best, so he's no good. A lot of people have that argument. Like when you say he's not the best, they're like, oh, so you think he's a terrible fighter? Or it goes with anything. Like if it's like this movie was okay, and like, oh, you think it was horrible? No, it's just not the best. That's it.
Yeah, right. So if like you're a Godfather fan or something, like I think the first Godfather is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
It's epic. But I'll talk to someone and they'll be like, it'd be like me being like, are you fucking crazy? It's one.
Yeah.
One. Like I can't judge everything else they say because they don't agree with me on what's one.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Fedor is amazing and so important in the history of the sport. Other guys just kind of like mentionables. I was thinking like Chuck Liddell, Matt Hughes, Randy Couture's, but their careers had some shakiness. And that's why Anderson drops a little bit to me, and also the competition thing.
I was about to ask that with Anderson, because if like a lot of people consider Anderson, like for a long time the mystique of Anderson Silva was such a big thing. And then, you know, the first Chael fight, you know, it was almost he could be seen. And then when Chris Weidman beat him a couple of times, then he obviously dropped the fight to Bisping as well. And the mystique of Anderson Silva is, like, if we were having this conversation 2 years ago, is Anderson Silva higher up in your list? Or
No.
Again, you're holding.
You mean pre-Weidman?
Yeah.
Well, there wouldn't have been DJ, right?
True.
So yeah, by default. I mean, he would have been over Jones maybe too. I don't know. I got to put myself back in that frame of mind. Okay, I'll tell you when it changed for me with Anderson was when he fought Chael. Chael was no world beater. Let's be honest, right? John Jones made him look like, you know, he was a kind of like the Rory Daly fight. Like, it wasn't ever in question. It was ridiculously dominant. And I understand there's a weight class thing there, but regardless, Chael took it to Anderson all 5 rounds, smashed his face, and all I could think of was like, God damn it, I wish they had that super fight between Anderson and GSP, because he would have smashed him. That's opinion. I don't know. Who knows, right? Then Weidman won every minute of that fight. So when people were calling that flukish, I'm like, you're fanboying. You're not being objective. Think about what just happened. You know, he was beating him on the ground. He took him down, almost got him in I think he had him in a leg bar, like an ankle lock turned into a knee bar.
Yeah, I think there was.
You remember that first fight?
There's some kind of scramble. Yeah.
It was a scramble, and he dove for like a knee bar, I think, and then Anderson's being a black belt knew how to get out. Yeah. But either way, he was winning the first round, and then the second round, Anderson was getting a little clownish. But again, in the second fight, it was the same, and even before the shin break, he was getting clipped. So, I mean, at that point, he can't be one anymore. And as you know, I'm a huge fan of Rogan, but he always puts Anderson one, and I'm like, God, why? Why don't you ever put George there? If I ever have a chance to talk to Joe like live like this is coming up. Yeah. There's one thing I have to come to terms with him on this. Like, how could you possibly put Anderson over George?
Yeah. There's one thing about the whole clowning thing that I always bring up when people are talking about Anderson and how he lost that fight is Anderson won a lot of fights doing that. Like, look at the Forrest Griffin fight. He done the exact same thing, but it worked. So you can't, on the same hand, say he's amazing for doing it against Forrest and say, oh no, it was, you know, he was just playing around against Weidman. That's what he does. That's his game. You know?
Of course it is. And it works. Roy Jones made a career out of it too. Yeah. You know, and it worked it had great efficacy, right? So if you look at Roy and Anderson, I think, although different combat sports, very similar in their approach and their dominance while at top, right? Roy being even more dominant, I think. And I do bring Roy Jones up an obnoxious amount of times, so just be prepared. But very similar in the fact that they made people look foolish with their antics and their skill. It was a combinatory thing, right? With George will tell you, if you ever, I don't know if you guys get an interview with him yet?
No.
George?
No, George? Okay.
No, we have a mole in the camp at the moment in Rhys McKee.
Yeah.
A young Irish fighter is over there at the moment. He's our mole.
So he'll tell you though that he's terrified every time before he fights. Yeah. He's an objective fighter, you know, and he watches film and he's very. George is like refreshingly honest, you know, in person, in interview. All that is George. Like we talked about with Rory, it's kind of funny them being both TriStar guys. They're both exactly what you think they are. That's not for cameras, you know. So I hope that answers. I know I went on a tangent there. But.
Well, here comes the argument. I know you said you were looking on your Facebook and you were saying about, you know, you don't want to upset Conor fans. But why does Dana White have Conor as number 1? Never mind the DJ thing, and you have him as number 5. Why is he at number 5 and not at number 1 for you?
I think you kind of touched on it, right? Dana, at the risk of ever potentially working for the UFC, how anyone can take him seriously anymore is beyond me. Yeah. Like I said a month ago, he was saying DJ's probably the best ever. Forget pump. That was assumed he was best pound for pound right now. That was 1 month ago. He didn't say this 11 years ago.
Yeah.
It was a month ago.
Yeah.
He was just saying this. What changed your mind besides money? Do you not have enough, dude? You have 8 Ferraris.
Yeah.
Come on.
And the funny
Jesus
thing
Christ.
is that it's not like Conor fought and won impressively, so he's like, oh, I changed my mind. DJ won again.
Yeah.
Since
Right.
It's so weird.
Right. It's beyond weird. And the thing is, and I almost want to call him out because he pissed me off enough, but a friend of mine texted me the other day, like, why is Mighty Mouse ducking TJ? I'm like, he's not ducking anyone. What do you know? The fucking guy should get paid.
Yeah.
How anyone that's a true fan of mixed martial arts, again, doesn't look at this objectively and go, okay, DJ's the best martial artist maybe ever, pound for pound, maybe ever. Yeah. And he's not getting paid his just due because he doesn't move the needle or whatever trendy fucking word they're using now. I think is absurd, and I think it's hypocritical. Okay. And I also think Conor just lost 2 fights ago convincingly. He was finished. It wasn't a bad decision. It wasn't a close decision like his second fight with him, right? And then Alvarez was amazing, but you can't just judge him on Aldo and Alvarez, and I think people do that, you know, and it's unfortunate, really. I love Conor. I think Conor's done tremendous things for the sport, and he's clearly the ultimate cash cow, and I think that probably is my answer to your question.
Yeah. And he's on your list. So.
One name that's missing, he was beaten. You've done a breakdown of Max Holloway. Max Holloway broke him down. It was Jose Aldo. A lot of people considered Jose for a long time as one of the top pound for pound. But again, he's missing on the lists.
The all-time or the current?
Well, both.
Say,
all-time.
Okay, well, current's tough because he just lost 2 out of his last 3, right?
Yeah.
He's on. If not for the Holloway fight, I don't know that I would put him in 5, but right now I definitely can't. All-time, I think there's an argument there, and he was one of. Remember when I said Hughes, Randy, Liddell?
Yeah.
Aldo was right there on the cusp, but goddamn that Holloway fight. Aldo's like 30.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's not old, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Man.
And I know we don't have time to totally break down that fight. Watch my video, everyone.
Yeah, watch the video. 100%.
We'll link it down below. Check the description.
Talk about it a little bit. I want to hear you talking about Max Holloway. I love Max Holloway.
Oh, he is a savage. And you know what I've done with him? Even though in that video I kind of wanted to get to the point, there's a couple reasons, because I feel like the Max Holloway that fought Pettis and Aldo is like a whole different guy. Yeah. Even though I saw potential in him, even with Conor being rugged and that whole Samoan/Hawaiian Pacific Islander toughness thing going on. Scrappy dude, but he's very intelligent. And when you watch his film, you're like, wow, this guy's incredibly accurate. And I always try to sneak a little technique in. One thing, and I pointed out a little bit in the breakdown that he does, is I said he uses his length to create length deception. Which sounds like a complete, like I'm contradicting myself. But the thing, like I was talking about with Rory, where they kind of paw out, right? They don't keep their hands close. For one, that restricts blood movement. If you have your own hands and you pronate them a tad, it's the same reason we hit a speed bag, right? It's like you're getting these your shoulders ready, but you're not trying to get them bulky. You're not necessarily doing military presses, right? Is that going to help anyone? No. So by having your hands relaxed and open and out, he's creating this length thing. And so here's a camera. When he's like this and he snaps a jab, it's already halfway there. Yeah. So it's a straight punch and he's not moving much. There's no tell on it, in other words. Kind of like Derek Lewis, right? He threw a left high kick 485 times, I think, in that one fight. With so much tell. He would like run and then switch kick with no setup. That's never going to land, dude. Good to cut weight to make 265. Come on, man. So my point being, the brilliance of Holloway is in how deceptively accurate he is and how great of a striker he is. Yeah. There was a sequence I pointed out where I called it kind of like Vasily Lomachenko meets Condit, because he did a back fist to drastically break the center line, kind of out and around the person, and then ends up on the rear side and does like a quick set where he plants his feet and then 1-2s. Like, that is magical. And he's doing all this shit on the fly. Jose looked really good in that fight for the first round. He looked phenomenal. That preemptive head movement I always talk about and his fast twitch muscle, what he did against Edgar that he didn't do against Holloway, and this could, again, be the length thing. It could have been fatigue, too. I don't know. He wasn't pivoting out. Like, when he fights Frankie and Frankie comes in, he jab, and then pivot out drastically to avoid danger. And Holloway didn't, I mean, there were no takedowns. There was no threat of a takedown. He was just, outstriking him. That dude is good. Really good.
A lot of people talked about how Aldo started so well. I honestly think, in a way, yes, he did start well, but I think Holloway was sitting back working him out as well. And what he done as well, he started to pick it up at the end of the second round. But in the third round, for me, it was the lead up, the combination that put Jose down for the time when he went down. It was a 1-2 combination, and like you said, he just sort of, he was in reach, but he was in length and reach, but he was in the perfect reach for himself, so that when Jose countered, he could just lean to slip it and came back with, again, just a 1-2, and it was like just fundamentals, fundamentals drilled and to perfection, and that was the start to the end. One thing that I spoke with Rob last week, Brendan, I don't know if you listened in, was I was hugely impressed. As much as Jose was a wounded cat on the ground, he still showed some desire and technique in hard positions. It's just, as Rob actually used a good analogy, you said Holloway was like he was riding a wave with every movement. From both sides, in a way, yes, Aldo lost, but he showed an awful lot as well in that fight, in his will to fight. I think a lot of people question Jose's fight in some ways, but I think he showed in defeat, he showed great fight in that defeat, wanted to stay in there, and eventually he was just beaten by the masterful Holloway.
I think Holloway is, a lot of times with kind of tall, lanky guys like that, like, he's not very muscular. He's not fat. I mean, he's got some like fast twitch movement, but he's not Tyron Woodley, Lombard kind of built, right? And Jose, for a 145 guy, kind of is. He's kind of, what is that? Would that be a mesomorph? I forget. Yeah. But he's fast twitch muscle, explosive. But so to touch on all of that, right? Max is a purple belt, I believe, in jiu-jitsu, and I know we've brought this up before with MMA jiu-jitsu. But people forget Aldo is he's been a black belt for a long time. I don't know, 12 years on, Novo Nyao, like, Pedernera system. That guy's no joke. He's beaten Cobrina in jiu-jitsu matches. Like, that's serious jiu-jitsu, and you could see it. But eventually, when this again comes up with this MMA jiu-jitsu thing, Holloway was just positionally dominant. He wasn't really going for submissions. He was threatening them to better his position. Yeah. I didn't put that in the breakdown. I wanted to, but you can only do so much. I was at like 17 minutes, and I'm like, all right, I got to cut this short. I would have loved to have kind of broken down that sequence a little more, but I didn't want to make a 25-minute video. But yeah, it was like there was one time where like he was kind of threatening an arm triangle, right? But all he was trying to do was get Jose to turn in, and then he stepped over to go into mount. Yeah, he was doing some wonderful things on the ground and constantly punching too. So to go to the original thing about being tall and lanky, he's got an incredible gas tank as well. That dude is so good. He's gotten so fucking good.
This is to bring it into the pound for pound. How far away is Max Holloway from that list?
He'd be 6, I had to put Conor there because Conor did beat him, and because Conor has technically moved around in weight classes. I'm so sick of hearing this shit. But I think he is 5. So I think Holloway would be 6. He's on the cusp, I mean, I could have substituted him for like a Stipe, but you got to see the body of work first. Yeah. Let's see what he does now that he has it.
Yeah. Just for context, as probably doesn't really mean anything because the UFC rankings don't really mean much. But for context, we have for pound, the UFC pound for pound rankings: Demetrius Johnson, Conor McGregor, Daniel Cormier, Stipe Miocic, and Max Holloway. So you had kind of some of those guys up there, I suppose.
So they still have, even though Dana White said he's not, they still have DJ as number 1.
Yep.
Yeah, I should just light my list on fire then. Thanks, Dana. You're the best.
Throw it out. Delete that. I typed that out. Delete that.
Do you still have the list in front of you?
I do indeed, yeah.
Where's Joanna?
The UFC one is
UFC
Joanna.
list. 7.
Fucking ridiculous.
Cody Garbrandt is 6.
For anyone who's listening, Brendan just opened his eyes really, really wide. In surprise, I think you could say.
I fucking love that game, but come on.
Yeah.
Body of work. Doesn't that mean anything?
Yeah.
It's like, who's the best football team of all time? Whoever won the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah,
no, it's the Patriots.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, American football.
Yeah. But you see, the thing is, you know, you look at people when they do lists, like GSP. I'm sure that a lot of people listening to this, you putting GSP as number one, and be going, "What, GSP?" Because they haven't watched what he's done. You know what I mean? They don't remember. It's not fresh in the mind. So they'll remember what's fresh in the mind, and they'll speak more about that. I couldn't disagree. You wouldn't get too many arguments with me.
I wouldn't debate many of those.
Yeah, what's in there. I just think it's weird that the one thing I will say is weird that John Jones is number 2 in the all-time, but doesn't make it into the current. Fair enough, he hasn't been active in a while, but I think that could change. I think
this Cormier fight will decide all of that.
Yeah.
He could jump to 1.
Yeah.
If he comes out and let's say he decimates Cormier like he did. Remember we talked about Shogun?
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, no, Shogun. But if he does that, if he does what he did to Shogun to Cormier, then ooh.
Well, this
is
your chance to comment, folks. Listening to this, if you think that Brendan Dorman's an absolute lunatic who's just being let wild, comment below.
Lunatic, yes.
Disagree. Give us your top 5 current and your top 5 all time, and we'll see who they come up with. I'm actually shocked that you had Fedor. I know you're not a hater of Fedor, but I'm just surprised that Fedor made it in there and some that you've mentioned didn't. So that did surprise me. I would have lost money on that one, I have to say, if I was a gambling man.
I'm more objective than you think.
Mysterious.
So, Brendan, give us a shout out. Where can people find you and your videos? Watch the YouTube channel is just under Brendan Dorman. That they should just type it in. They're going to find your body of work in there.
Yeah, you could just type in my name in the search. If not, it's Brendan. It's user Brendan Dorman MMA or whatever. Yeah. Same as my Facebook business page, and then my Twitter handle and Instagram are the same. My name BRENDAN DORMAN.
Check them out, folks.
I try to talk to all of you.
Yeah, if you honestly want to see some of the best breakdowns in the world, check them out. We're honoured to have you as part of the show here, and we will catch up with you next week, and we will talk more in depth about. We'll come up with some subject where we'll argue a bit more. You gave a good list this week, so we couldn't really argue with you. But as always, man, thank you very much.
To come back at me. All right, fair enough.
You're an absolute gent. Pleasure talking to you as always.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Take care. Thanks, Brendan. Take care.
All right.
That list. This is the thing with pound for pound. Everyone's going to disagree. Everyone's going to talk. It's a strong list.
It's a strong list. It's hard. I honestly think it's very hard to argue pound for pound. In certain ways, but that's a strong list. So we're going to hit up and we are going to get Damian Darker on, who is fighting on Cage Legacy. You're listening to this week, so it is fight week. He's fighting on Saturday in Drogheda. So check it out, and we are going to be joined now with Damian. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and we are joined now by the Dark Destroyer. I'm going to call you Damian Darker, who will face Chris Meaney out of Nori Muay Thai at Cage Legacy Kickboxing 2. It's the main event this Saturday coming, June 17th. So Damian, thanks for taking the time to come on to obviously Fight Talk, my man.
No problem. Thanks a million for having us, lads.
Damian, you're someone that people will be familiar. I think a lot of people's first taste of you may have been at Cage Kings, where you fought Dylan Marr in the combo. You obviously come from a huge background as well. So talk to us. I know it's something you spoke to Fightstar about as well. You struggle to get matches. Do you think it's because of your style and people have seen the likes of the devastating knockout on Warrior, and these highlight videos in a way make it harder for you to get fights?
Yeah, and I spoke about my record and having no kind of amateur K1 experience straight off the bat. People don't see anything to gain for them, that kind of way. So it's a big kickboxing background, full kind of kickboxing, but so on the K1 scene, people are kind of like, he hasn't even got an amateur fight. I'm not taking that fight, because they knew it was a dangerous fight. So it's getting a bit better, but the pond isn't as big as we thought it was, So there's just the same name circling around. So to be honest, I'm just glad to have two fights now coming up in quick succession.
And that's something that as well you've competed boxing now as well. Is that something you do just to sharpen the tools, or is it just something you do to stay active?
Stay busy, yeah. Stay busy. To be honest, like I've no ambitions. I know I'm not going to be. I'm not going to outbox a boxer, you know, and I'm not stupid enough to think that, you know. But I'm just in there to be getting the rounds in, you know. If the longer distance when I'm boxing suits me better, I prefer standing toe to toe. If I get someone who's going to be very rangy and an out boxer running away, I know I'm not going to outbox them. I'm not delusional about that, you know. But I know if there was leg kicks involved and stuff, I'd be able to slow them down and get the win. But I'm just in there to get the rounds in. As I said, you know, like I boxed a while back and lost the fight, close fight, but I was outboxed by a boxer. And then 2 weeks later, I fought in the right venue, and it done me the world of good, you know.
That's something as well. Let's say the right venue was at the CRC, where it's half ring, half cage. This time around, you're going to be in the full cage at Cage Legacy Kickboxing. Does that make a big difference compared to the ring, or is it just something because you fought in Cage Kings a bit of an advantage for you?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to matter too much if it was someone who would be running away. It might, you know, because it's more of a circle. You're not going. It's harder to cut them off, so to speak. But I don't see Chris running, you know. So I don't think it's going to be much of an issue on this fight.
What do you know about Chris as well, Damien? What do you expect from him? Do you expect him to be willing to stand in front of you?
I seen his last fight when he fought Thai boxing. Now it was a mismatch, you know. No disrespect to the other guy as well. It was a mismatch. Size difference and power and experience and all that. And I think Chris again. I don't know how many K1 fights he has, but he probably doesn't have that many, you know, K1 or Thai boxing fights. So that'd be another thing. It might do him good for his record when guys are accepting fights with him, because he doesn't have a great record. But then when he gets in there, he's had a few MMA fights and he's a lot more accomplished than people think. So like that last fight I seen him, it was a mismatch and he blew your man away. But he still let your man come forward in the first round. He kind of had this laid-back style, and he was trying to get in your man's head. He was kind of smiling and grinning and stuff. But he hits hard, but he kind of relies on that power. You know, he's not exactly crisp and picking his shots. So that's where I see my advantage and fitness as well. I think I'll have the engine to go all 3 rounds if it takes that long. And I think he'll be cutting down to hit 81.5. So we'll see what his engine's like when he's made right.
That's something. You're looking to set the high pace and sort of bring him into the later rounds and then exploit, as you said. I can't see comments when you spoke with Lydia and you spoke with Fight Story. You said you predict a highlight reel knockout. Was that something that we're going to see again?
Yeah, look, I'm always looking for it. You know, I'm not. I'm trying to entertain and trying to give people those moments. Like that's what people come to see. You know, if they don't come to see lads, you know, holding each other and standing in the clinch, and you know, they come to see those kind of breathtaking moments. So if I can give someone that, I'm gonna try. You know, I do see it happening later on in the fight. I've learned over the last few fights. I'm not going out looking for it. I'm just gonna, you know, stay calm, composed, take the first round as it comes, just stick to the game plan, and I see it coming later on. You know.
Going forward as well, I was actually very surprised when Martin Horgan was breaking the internet on a constant daily basis with Capital One announcements. I was very surprised that your name hadn't come out. Was it ever in the mix there to be on that card?
No, I haven't asked to be either. Yeah, I don't know. Like Capital One's a massive show, the amount of people that are on it. But I don't know. It's weird. I think it's something in me. It's like there's nearly too many big names on that card that I don't want on it. You know, I don't want on it. I want to be main eventing these cards, and I want to be, you know, people going to see me. I think there's too much of an attraction in a weird way. If it probably sounds weird, but there's too many fights on that card. You get kind of overshadowed. Obviously it's a big stage for you to make a mark, but I've two fights in quick succession now that it kind of doesn't appeal to me, to be honest. I think that's kind of when I'll be looking at taking a little break, and then looking for later in the summer to be getting back out again if we can get through these 2 fights. Who
are you taking on in the second fight, Damien? I'm unaware of that.
John Michael Shields.
All right, big fight, yeah, and that's KRC, is it?
Yeah, CRC and the right venue again,
Yeah, RC, it's okay. I'm not a gobshite, and I wouldn't mind. I announced it about 5 times. That's a big fight against JMS as well, and JMS is obviously, he's known for MMA as well, but he's had a couple of K1 fights again. So again, big name. But in the long run, what's the game plan? Like, you know, we're from the similar neck of woods as well as one another, from the Borough and stuff, and you know, Keane Cowley has transferred over from MMA. But you've many lads from that neck of the woods, young Daryl Flood coming up as well. But what's the game plan? Is it glory? Is that the idea? Is that where is it Bellator kickboxing? What is the big path for you? Where does this lead to?
Whatever the biggest stage I can get to is, you know, I'm not in it just to be taking part on, you know, local shows forever. You know, obviously they're the building blocks to get to those bigger shows, but yeah, like I want to get to the biggest stage possible, and I want to bring it to Ireland. Like, I want to, you know, Conor's done it for MMA, and you know, everyone's then chasing that $1 million idea. You know, like, it's, if Conor was to have done the same, he would have went straight into boxing and tried to beat next Floyd Mayweather, but he didn't. He stuck to his guns, and he stayed true to his, you know, what he thought, and he made the path for MMA. And like, I'm not just going to chase because Conor has made the money available in MMA. I'm not going to go and just go the MMA route. I still see a path for K1 over here, and you know, then everyone should, you know, everyone will chase that path once it's open, once someone's broke through, and that's what I see. Like, that's
something that when John Wayne Parr was on, he said, like, with McGregor, that's what kickboxing or Muay Thai or K1 needs, is that personality, is that guy, is that can get the push and the push of a nation and an area around you. I know as well a few years back that John O'Bracken, again from our neck of the woods, was there was rumours around that he was glory, you were looking at him and it was very close and stuff like that. But it honestly, I think you only have to go, and like, for example, if you look at the takeover at the weekend that went down, I wasn't in attendance myself at it, but the crowds were there, and any K1 show or Muay Thai show you go to, the crowds are huge. And yes, we're predominantly an MMA show here, but when you look at the regional shows, more following goes to the kickboxing K1 Muay Thai shows. I almost think if you're not a big fight fan, it's easier to watch, it's easier to understand, and people are getting blessed with, like you're saying, Capital One is packed, but this, like, Cage Legacy is packed and it's got you as main event, so people are going to see world-class fighters. Yeah,
and I think there's less stalling in a weird way. Like, I know, and I've said this, I appreciate MMA and appreciate Jiu-Jitsu as a soul, but I think even watching Jiu-Jitsu as a soul martial art on its own is more exciting than when sometimes in MMA it becomes a Jiu-Jitsu match, because sometimes the lads are just bollocks, to be honest, and they're just looking to stall out a fight. They might have got rocking on their feet and they're just looking to try and stall it. Then it's not exactly, they're not looking for transitions all the time. They might just be looking to hold out the round. So it's not exactly as exciting sometimes as watching Jiu-Jitsu solely. And the same way, you know, sometimes you're watching Thai boxing and the lads are getting the clinch and they're not exactly looking to be busy. They're just looking to stall the fight because they might have been rocked again with a shot. So there's a lot more stalling involved in those martial arts, and I think K1 could be huge if it gets marketed right, and I think that's all it needs, to be honest. Well,
there's one thing I'm announcing 8-9 years at this stage now. I've watched so many fights, I've seen so many submissions, I've seen so many TKOs and knockouts, but the greatest ever knockout I've ever seen live goes to you. That spinning wheel kick, was it? It was absolutely phenomenal. It was one of them moments. I remember when it happened, the first thing I done was run around to Fight Star and go, show me the footage of that. It was absolutely insane, and I look forward to calling you on Saturday night and getting to watch you again, because it is absolutely amazing to watch you fight. So if anybody's looking for tickets, it's get on to Decky, I suppose, or yourself, or fighters, or get them off Damo, give them a few bob.
Exactly.
But get out and watch it. It's in Drogheda, so get ready for a day trip. But go and watch it, and man, I can't wait to watch you fight. And thanks for taking the time to come on. Hopefully the weight cut's going well.
Really appreciate it. Like, I love when you're announcing. You know, I love the walkout, the call out. It makes it worthwhile. You know, so it's the difference you can make to a show is massive. You know, so
what a man.
That's all he's going to be talking about now on the way home.
I'll drop you that few bob. Yeah, fair play to you. There you are. Promoters, listen, I make a show. Listen, man, it's my honour calling you. You make the show. You're the fucking superstars. I'm just a mouth on the mic. But yeah, Best of luck, my man. I look forward to watching the fight, and thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us, lads. All the best.
See you later. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. Damian Darker. Go and check him out. He is an absolute destroyer. If you want to see technique that kicks that there's no setups to, as in, not that there's no setups, you're not seeing them coming.
Yeah.
The best knockout I've ever seen live, and that's like, don't get,
I
like,
remember you saying that.
I've seen hundreds of, probably thousands of fights at this stage, but that was just absolutely phenomenal. Cage Legacy Kickboxing goes down on Saturday night. Get your tickets. Hit up Damo. Not Decky. Don't be getting onto Decky giving him money. Get onto Damo. Check it out. Stunning card with Damo as the headline act. But Rob, let's talk a little UFC.
Last one.
And let's get the Hawaiian.
The Hawaiian.
On the blower.
Yeah. We're
going to be joined. Big win.
Huge win, yeah.
Some sort of said it, early stoppage.
Some said it. I think Yancy said it too.
Yeah, I don't think.
Let's find out more.
Yes, find out more. So welcome back to Obviously Fight Talk, and I am delighted to say we are now joined by a man coming off, probably we'll find out what he thinks his biggest victory of his career. We are joined by UFC fighter Yancy Medeiros. Yancy, thanks a million for taking the time to come on to Obviously Fight Talk.
Thank you guys for inviting me.
Would you agree with that statement, your biggest win of your career?
I'd say Erick's probably my biggest name too. In my career, beating him. He's headlined couple UFC cards, and you know he has some big fights. So I'd say he's probably my biggest win.
And I'm guessing the reaction from like Hawaii, your hometown, and also just overall has been the biggest reaction to one of your fights so far.
Oh yeah, I was able to, two Hawaiians was able to go up there and represent our small island and show the talent and dedication we put into this sport.
That's something that Hawaiian, like if you look through a list of Hawaiian fighters, yous are known. What is it about Hawaii and the fighting spirit that just as well gets the world to love you as well? If you look, obviously yourself and Max there at the moment, but then you look at like BJ Penn, even like Cabbage, Kendall Grove. These are just some of the names. But like, what is it that is from Hawaii that causes this great love of fighting and the ability of fighting?
I think for the most part it's just the Hawaiian culture when it comes to being supportive. I mean, I'd follow baseball, I don't even know baseball, and I'd follow Shane Victorino and like what team he on, because I'm a Shane Victorino fan, and I think it's because it's just a small island. We live on a small island, and to see someone get out, it's just inspiring. And just like, I saw it started with BJ Penn. I seen him in UFC, and like, bro, if he can do it from a small town in Hilo, why can't this small Waianae boy do it too? And it was just all the motivation, and it was just natural support. Like, I guess in Hawaii, instinctually, we don't hate. We don't have that hate or that negativity. Everything's welcoming, and we have that aloha spirit, that aloha vibe, and that's something we try to push out everywhere we go, especially when it's time for war. I mean, Hawaiians love to shaka, but our hands close real fast when there's problems. So
talk us through.
Just unbelievable support. Unbelievable.
Talk us through the fight now as well, Yancy. It's you even spoke about it that you thought maybe Erick Silva could have went a little longer. For me, me watching it, I felt when the big knockdown came. For me, I thought Silva was sitting up, but he was very stiff-armed, almost just in autopilot from getting such a big hit. So I'd be the first to dispute a quick stoppage. I go, he could have took more. But I thought it was a good stoppage. After watching it back, do you still stand by you think it was too early?
I like, from perspective-wise, as a fighter, I would have wanted to kept going. Yeah. For me, you know what I mean? Like, fuck, my heart was in it, but the refs are there for the fighter's safety. And like I said, I felt like he could have continued, but that doesn't mean it would have got. I felt it would have got worse too for him. Because I was about to rain elbows, I was about to sink in something. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, I smelled blood, and I think that's what the ref seen. He seen the dramatic knockdown, and he seen me wailing on his head. And it looked like it wasn't clean, but I remember punching him. I was like, "Oh, bro, I'm getting you a clean shot, and I'm gonna rain some elbows." I mean, it was just, for me, it was just, like I said, like a shark. I just smelled blood, and I came in for that kill.
And what
was... I mean, huh?
Go ahead.
No, I just... I mean, I felt it was a safe stoppage on his part. Like, I felt like I could have did a lot more damage. You know, I was in the right position. Like, I was ready to reign, and I don't feel like, you know, him continuing would have been good for him.
What was fight week like in Brazil, fighting one of their guys? Was it a strange atmosphere? Was it intimidating at all, or did you just go with it?
We just embraced it. I was fortunate enough to come up there at Max, so we're all just on good vibes, indulging Brazil. I mean, Brazil reminds me of Hawaii. It's just everybody speaks Portuguese. But, you know, I was around there. I was walking around. All the women, they're just like, oh, you know, they start speaking to me in Portuguese. And I'm like, oh, no comprende Portuguese. You know, they just so upset after. They're like, bonita. They call it. I was like, bonito. Oh, that means pretty. They're checking me out. But, like, I can't speak Portuguese, you know. So, I mean, I loved it. I loved it up there. The vibes was good. The people are supportive. I tell everyone, like, they're just supportive, Brazilian. They love their countrymen, you know. And I mean, after the victory, they're all supportive. There wasn't no bad vibes prior to the fight. During fight time, though, you know, they're all yelling, doing their death chants, giving me the finger and all that. But after the fight, you know, they're all smiles and shakas. So.
And what's
no bad vibes
for you now as well, Yancy, coming off that win as well? I want to talk about when you obviously went backstage then after your victory, but just to keep it on you, what's next for you? Who do you see, or do you even at this stage, do you feel like you need to call somebody out, or do you just wait for the UFC to call you?
I just tell the UFC to call me. I mean, when I went to Brazil, I just told my manager, like, hey, put me in Brazil with my brother. I want to fight up there. I don't care who they put me against. It's never about that. But now I'm about getting the grind, and I would like a ranked fighter. That would be nice. I need to establish my name. I need to establish that this weight class is my weight class, and I want to prove it to the UFC so I can make some money. You know, I got bills to pay. My daughter's tuition ain't gonna pay herself, so you know, like give me a good name so I can give you guys a great fight.
For fighters going to Brazil who aren't from Brazil, is that an expensive trip to get down there to bring coaches and stuff like that, or is most of it covered by the UFC?
For the most part, it is covered by the UFC, but I mean, if you ain't the champ, they ain't doing a lot of expenses on you, so there's a lot of write-offs. Yeah. There's a lot of tax write-offs going down, so yeah, you got to invest. You got to bring the right people, the people you want in your corner, you know, the coaches. It's just different fighters have different investments, and I invest in bringing a lot of people in that are going to help me for my fight.
With the whole atmosphere of Brazil, does it help the training you've gone through with two of the most intimidating men in MMA as well, with the Diaz brothers?
Oh, I mean, the shit doesn't get worse than training. Doesn't get worse than the fight ever. Like, you know what I mean? When guys, if you watch my fights and they hit me good, it's like, I'm telling them, like, yes, like, it's not because I can eat their whack. It's just more like, or I can eat a punch. It's more like, I trained for this, bro. Like, I died already. You think you killed me, bro? I killed myself a million times in the gym. Shit is not hard. This fight is not harder than what I put myself through. Like, you ain't gonna make me quit. I hope you got that all 15 minutes. You know, I train with the best martial artists, and I train with world champs. And, you know, it's proven, and I just think that 155 cut was a little too dramatic for me, and now at 170, you know, I can just really focus on the easy cut and get better. I feel lighter, I feel stronger, I feel faster, and I feel like now, like, these guys really, they're gonna, you know, if I land my hands on them, they're gonna feel that power. I felt like, you know, when I walked out and with Erick, like, he didn't have that face, just didn't give me no respect. Like, he's like gonna walk right through me, and I don't know if he fell or he tripped, but I clipped him a little with that right hand, and he didn't attack me. No, he didn't give me the same face after that. You know, it's like, I feel like I fought at 205 and 185. So fighting bigger guys, I don't size them up like that. You know, it's like, I go in there, and before I was a gunslinger, now I'm trying to be a sniper and just take guys out. I don't want to be standing toe-to-toe with them. I want to know if they want to try to go toe-to-toe, they're going to get hurt.
With the change, you're fighting at the different weight classes. Was there a big change in just nutrition, or was it training wise, and where did it come from? What was the tipping point, if you like, for where you thought, I've got to find my home and stay at it in weight class?
Yeah, good question. Like I said, I fought at 205 and 185 in the beginning of my career. So I mean, just a big Hawaiian boy that likes to eat. Didn't know anything about nutrition. Didn't know anything about. Didn't have no athleticism. You know, I wrestled in high school, but I didn't have no strength and conditioning program or any of that. It was just a Hawaiian kid with heart and a dream to get off this island and represent. So, just that being said, I think my last turning point for me realizing that I should be at 170 was my last fight in Brazil with Ronaldo. I was just like, man, you know, like, the guys that see me in the gym, like, they see the real Yancy. But I'm training in the gym at like 185, you know, 175 at the lightest, like until I do my weight cut. So I think like when I'm training with all the Diaz boys and, you know, up in California, and then when I'm at home and I'm on weight or I'm on a fighting weight that actually is natural for me, it's like, that's the real Yancy. That's the real me. Like, that's the guys that that's the guy that everyone trains with. That's what the world needs to see. That's what UFC needs to see, so I can just start making some money.
A big one that has always been threatened and it didn't come around. Surely now is the perfect time with Max as the featherweight champion, you with the best win of your career over Erick Silva. Surely it's time for UFC Hawaii.
Please, I mean, that's something I don't ask for. I don't ask for fighters, but I will ask for a venue. I always ask them for a venue, and with the love and support after me and Max came home, Max, unifying that title and really showing Hawaii that we do breed champions here. You know, it ain't no fluke. Like, we got the formula. We got the formula. We don't need to go and cross train and invite guys or invite people over in Hawaii. We got the toughness. We got the criteria. I mean, like I said, Max proved to the world that this small island has the formula to keep up and be the world's best. I mean, look what he did to Aldo. He didn't just catch Aldo. He beat Aldo. Yeah. You know, and that's something like, you know, that's monumental for us, and it's motivating for me and everybody that trains around in that gym. I mean, just in Hawaii, I mean, bro, they made us a parade. It takes like 90 days to get a permit for a parade. They did it in 2. You know, it's crazy. Like what Hawaii just unifying what that win has done for the state of Hawaii and especially our community.
Not only did they give you a parade, they gave you a day. Talk a little bit about that. How did that come about?
Fucking made me and Max and Yancy there. That's freaking awesome. Over there paying. I'm bragging to the world, all my family. I'm like, now y'all got 2 days with me. You know, you got the second day, the second best day in the world. And they're like, June 10th. They're like, oh, what's the first? I'm like, my birthday. No, but you know, I was there. But no, it's so great. Like, it's speechless. I'm speechless. Like, when it comes to that, I did not expect that at all. Like, that was like a total curveball. It's just unreal. They announced it to us right there on the stage after the parade. I was like, what? Like, they actually made a fucking day for us? That's crazy. Like, that all. But even with all of that support and love, like, I was speechless. And the only thing I told everybody, like, the only thing I wanted to do was bring another belt home.
That's what
to see that unity that we have in this community and this state. It's like, man, like, what state was doing that for their people? You know what I mean? Like, it just shows UFC, like, come on, man, bring this to Hawaii. Like, look at these people. They're over here waiting in the rain. Our parade was raining. They waited. The people waited and freaking cheered for us in the rain. Like, you know, like, it's like, bro, I gotta bring another belt home.
That's been my question to you. That obviously makes you more hungry. That you want to, you know, you want more crowds, if you like, coming to celebrate 2 belts in Hawaii.
I want more unity. You know, I mean, belts is great, but you know what I mean. Like, that's why I fight. You know, I'm in the center of the octagon. I know Hawaii's watching me. I know my fans. I know my supporters are there for me. And like them to give it back like that, it's like, I gotta fight in Hawaii. I gotta fight for my people. You know, like look at like, without this support, like we wouldn't be where we are. And regardless of what people say, like they do it on their own. Like, nah, you need support. You are who you are because of the people you compel and the people that want to indulge in you.
Yeah, I see it with a lot of fighters as well, especially like the American fighters, where they feel the fans don't get behind them as much. Like here in Ireland, we get behind all our athletes, be it if it's in soccer, if it's boxing as well. But obviously, we're talking MMA. Conor McGregor has a nation behind him, and you can see that in comparison. As much as you might like me bringing Conor McGregor into the conversation, you can
it's the truth.
You can see the comparison with you guys.
I tell everybody, they're always like, what do you feel? How do you think about Conor McGregor? I was like, first off, that motherfucker knows how to make money. He knows how to make money, he knows how to talk, and he knows how to utilize his country, and that's what he does. And we ain't got no country, but Hawaii is his own kingdom. I'll tell you that. And we prove that. We're gonna prove that. We're gonna keep proving that we're not a state, bro. We're our own little kingdom. And look at it. We're the only state that are able to walk out with our flag. You know what I mean? The whole 50 states, because we're our own. We're our own little country, if you want to call it. When you come to Hawaii, you don't even consider it part of America. You're like, man, I love Hawaii. But this is a Hawaiian vibe, and that's what we're trying to, I guess, perpetuate. You know, like the love and the aloha we have. Not just the fighter, warrior spirit. It's everything. Hawaii is everything. I've never met someone that came to Hawaii and be like, I hate Hawaii. You know what I mean? Like, it's just good vibes, and I want to show the people that it's more than just a vacation home here. We got warriors. And we got great people that give back to the community and want to make a difference, not just to their community, but to their state and everybody around them.
Just bringing to Max's fight just briefly, did you watch it backstage or did you come back out into the arena?
I wish I could have came to the arena, but I watched it backstage. Me and him were in the same locker room, you know, and like I was in the back decompressing. Like I didn't want to walk in, you know, hit all the fans and whatnot. So I was just in the back relaxing and having anxieties.
And what's the atmosphere like after, when you know you two guys have won? Is it almost like a big celebration, or is it quite cool? I've done my job and let's go off and earn our night out, or what's the protocol? What were you doing?
I mean, after his victory, it was just like, let's go home, bro. Brazil's great, but we need to go home. We were there for 8-9 days prior to the fight, like. Everything was a blessing. The crowd, the people, the support was amazing there. I mean, like I said, no bad vibes. There were no bad vibes in that arena. You know, people are real respective, but these Hawaiians, best believe, we were celebrating like crazy. We do this one thing, we're like, chee-hoo! Like, that is our call, man. You hear that, they're like, oh, this guy's from Hawaii.
We know there's a couple of pictures. You had a guy who's considered by many as the pound-per-pound fighter on the planet, was sharing a drink, which is on the beach as well. Demetrius Johnson, you were all chilling together?
Yes. I think he was on a random trip, just came to Hawaii, hit Max up, and we linked up. Had to show him that aloha vibes.
We're gonna, Yancy, we stuck up that you were coming on the show, and we had a couple of fans. We stuck it up on Reddit that a couple of fans wanted it, so we're just going to blitz through a couple of questions with you, if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem.
So this, somebody, in a way, we touched on it a little bit, but I'm probably going to murder this name. Al Guapo, it looks like El Guapo. I'd love it if you could ask Yancy about his nutrition shift, how he went from 240 to 170, or whatever his walk around weight is. Specifically, what diet changes did you make, cardio, etc. What was the diet change?
I pretty much just, there's no scientific formula to that, man. I just ate clean. You know, organic, and stay away from all the artificial, stopped all the fast food. I mean, at first they're like, oh, be vegan, pescatarian. I'm like, bro, I just ate clean first. I stayed away from the dairy. I stayed away from all the processed foods. It's pretty simple. And, you know, I stuck with Nick and Nate. I ate like them and I trained like them, and I lost hella weight. That was pretty much my boot camp. You know, I wasn't going to be fucking grinding a fat burger while they're over here eating all healthy and shit. You know, like, that's the last thing I was gonna do. I just soldiered up, put myself through a boot camp, and freaking ate hella clean. That's like, drank hella water and ate hella clean. Like, I don't know how to like explain it to people. It's just, you know, I don't count my food. I don't have a nutritionist. I just ate clean. That's like the biggest thing. And I lost hella weight. I walked around at 220, then I started walking around at like 180. You know, and my body adjusted to my diet and my nutrition, and I now I walk around at 190, so that hence why I'm 170. I fight at 170, so
Nice.
Just eat clean. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's not what you eat, it's what you don't eat.
A question from Verdum40. What was the process that Yancy and co went through to organise their own team out of Hawaii? How difficult were the logistics of setting up the fight team, including getting coaches, staff, accommodation, and yeah, basically, how difficult was it to set up the camp in Hawaii?
Camp's easy now. We're solidified. Me and Max, you know, we got Gracie Technics and Legacy Muay Thai is our grappling and striking coaches, and then we also got I have a kickboxing coach on the side, West Oahu. But for the most part, camps are easy. It's like we're pretty much home based at one gym. Me and Max have the same strength and conditioning, same jiu-jitsu coaches. It's pretty much almost everything is the same except I got 2 striking coaches, but camp's just hella easy. Just one place, two spots to go to, and then everyone just derives around us and makes the fight our fight. We don't train to fight anybody. They train to fight us.
And just another part of that same question is, like, how different is it than like setting up your own personalized camp than going to somewhere like ATT, a big camp like that? How different? Like, what's the advantages of setting up your own camp like that?
I think it comes down to conveniency. You know, when you're in camp, every camp is hell. I think, like, you know, and I think being at home is much more easy because all the coaches, it's been our 5th, 6th camp together already. So I mean, they already got the gist of how to tailor make what we need to do in camp and fight week. But I think that's why AT&T and, you know, Jackson, then they have that. They have all that set down. They have the coaches that indulge in all that too. But Hawaii's got it too. We got it, man. You know, Gracie Technic, Legacy Muay Thai, West Oahu MMA, Team Tactical, Strength and Conditioning. It's all those coaches. We all collaborate together, you know, and we just make that's just our camp now. You know, it was over the years of having all these trials and tribulations, and we found a good formula.
Nice. John Messina says, what were your thoughts on the UFC retreat with the whole Cyborg fiasco and how Reebok has affected sponsorship for you fighters?
Let's get with the athlete thing, UFC retreat. I honestly have no idea what went down. I kind of, from what I heard, I think Megan was being like a cyber bully or something like that. It's just when I deal with real people. I deal with real people, and you know, when you do that to Nate, best believe you talking shit, you better be able to talk shit in front of his face too, because you're gonna get a slap. You know what I mean? That's just how real people do shit, and I think some athletes, they don't, you know, I don't know how Megan is. Like I said, I didn't even see anything she said. She's hot, by the way, but I mean, I don't know what she did. I don't know what antagonized it, but I met Cyborg, and she's a beautiful person. She's very personable. She's very sociable. So I guess, you know, for her to hit Megan, you know, she was pissed off about that. Like, real people are going to put you in check no matter what your profession is. And I think a lot of athletes and professionals need to know that. Like, just because my hand is registered doesn't mean you don't deserve a slap or a punch in the face. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the nicest guy in the world, but I ain't no punk, so don't punk me. You know what I mean? I'll slap you and be like, I didn't do anything. He attacked me. I have to defend myself now. You know, some people deserve slaps. Some people deserve getting punched in the face.
I thought it was a good story. A keyboard warrior got a slap. We find nothing wrong with that.
Right? I don't think it's bad at all. You know, some trolls need to get put in place in general. Like I said, I didn't read what Megan wrote, but it was mad enough where Cyborg broke etiquette. You know, it broke her professional etiquette and went up and slapped her, which any real person would do if they felt offended by someone.
Yeah. No, it was she's due to fight Megan, but it was Magana that got the Cyborg slap.
Brunch. I had to Google what this was to make sure it wasn't rude. Ask Yancy where does he go to get his poke, raw fish in Hawaii, and also what's his favorite poke? Poke. Okay.
In Hawaii we pronounce that poke. Poke, yeah. Okay. So, like, but everybody, that's what they say, because straight across poke. Poke, which is just fish, raw fish, you know, cubed up. It's like sashimi, but it's just cubed up, and they put, like, you know, some soy sauce in there, onions and whatnot. But I'd say my favorite place is Nico's in Hawaii. Nico's Pier. You guys gotta go check that out when you guys come to Hawaii. It's close to the airport. NICO, Nico's.
Nico's, and this is the a beautiful name as well. This guy, he's fuck you is his name on Reddit, and it's the this is the one question that I knew would come up when I put up fan questions for you. Being Hawaiian, the famous question: pineapple on a pizza, yes or no?
Pineapple on everything, man.
Yeah, I agree.
I put pineapple on my burger. I put pineapple on pizza. Man, I love pineapples.
Yeah, I'm on board. I like pineapple on a pizza. I just got my missus just texted me there as well, and basically asking where I am. I said I'm just interviewing yourself. I said, oh, is that the Hawaiian fighter? I said, yeah. I said, ask him, can we stay in his house when we go to Hawaii next year? So that's the level my missus is at.
I got a better one. Y'all can stay at the beach because there ain't no weather in Hawaii. You die. You just be able to sleep on the beach, wake up. There's free water. But if y'all come, y'all more than welcome.
There we are. We're in. We're staying in Yancy's gaff. Sound. Look, Yancy, listen, thanks a million, my man, for taking the time to come on and talk to us.
It's early morning.
Yeah, it's early for you. You've only the
guys.
day ahead of you. We appreciate it greatly. Look forward to watching you fight again. And hopefully UFC Hawaii will be coming soon, because looking at the scenes, the fans love it, and it just has to happen. How a promotion cannot look at that and just think dollar is beyond me. But I hope it happens.
That, and just, you're a multi-billionaire company.
Yeah.
You fly that all the way to Singapore. How come you can't fly anything to Hawaii?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
great.
I mean, but thank you guys. I appreciate it, guys. I'll talk to you guys anytime, man. Hopefully with the next belt.
Cheers.
Cool. We'll talk to you before your next scheduled fight, you man. An absolute star, and we appreciate it again. Thanks, Yancy.
Aloha. See you
Cheers.
guys.
Thank you, my man. So there you are. I'm staying in Yancy's gaff when I go to Hawaii next year.
I say it was like, what the fuck's a gaff?
What's a gaff? Yeah, so we're quids in, Wendy. We're staying in Yancy's gaff.
Cool. Imagine you staying on the beach.
Yeah.
You'd wake up like a fucking tomato.
I would look like Mr. Krabs from fucking SpongeBob. Oh, you ready, kids? Look, that's been a jam-packed,
jam-packed.
71. What a lineup.
What a lineup.
What a lineup indeed. You can't go wrong when you have fighters and analysts and commentators like we did. I absolutely loved that. I hope you did too. Shout out to Fight Star Ireland. Check them out for all their fighter needs under one roof. MMA Mix, they're obviously good because they're with obviously Fight Talk. Big shout out again to Jimmy Smith, Brendan Dorman, Damian Darker, Yancy Medeiros, and we'll probably be hitting Daniel Mulvaheady up for a referee special as well during the week. Check it out. Yeah, check it out. I believe we are going to be covering the Glory fiasco that was. But look, that's been 71. Like and share. This gets the word out. Hit Yancy up on Facebook and Twitter as well, and give him the love. Same with Brendan.
Yeah, any we never do this, but any suggestions of who you want to see on the show?
Yeah,
we'll reach out. You know, if they, you know,
we'll ask.
We'll ask. We can only
give us a name.
No, they can only say no.
They can only say no. But if they say no, they're obviously not good. Because they're not obviously with. That's weird. That doesn't make sense. Yeah. This has been 71. He's been Robert Palin. I've been Noel O'Keefe. You've been beautiful. Peace.